Hi, and welcome to the first official episode of the Averity Podcast. Today we're going to be going over a little bit about who we are, how Averity got started, and the whole purpose of this podcast, really. So my name is Natalie.
I'm Lewis.
We're engaged,
in case you didn't know.
In case you didn't jinx. And so we started Averity back in 2021. I actually jumped into insurance first. The opportunity kind of fell in my lap. I used to work at a doctor's office. I was the one actually checking the insurance for the patients, which is crazy, full circle moment, you know. Yeah. And then after the business kind of started taking off for me, Lewis decided to jump in.
Yeah, and I think something that pushed me over the edge was like seeing her, become this, she was just working a regular 9-to-5 job, and I don't know how many times you called me from that job all the way home, miserable, crying because you hated it, and like God literally did this to you. Yeah. It's like here. Yeah. And just seeing you change overall, into an entrepreneur and building your own thing, I think that's something that, I saw you, being successful in it, and I was like, no, I kind of want to see how this goes for me. Yeah. Let's see how it is. And
we never used to see each other.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to go to. Like, I used to work at a dealership. I used to work from 7 in the morning until 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, depending on the day. And something that really pushed me over the edge was her pointing out to me that I was only getting 4 days off a month. And that right there, like, opened my eyes entirely. And I was like, I cannot continue to live my life like this. Yeah. And I think that's something that definitely was like, all right, this is over with. Like, if you definitely want to get out of these 4 walls, I would say, because you remember that dealership was very, very small and cramped in that one particular place. And if you want to get out of this, you definitely have to do something about it. Yeah. And I think that's something that we started doing the insurance. I started dipping my toes in little by little, selling policies here and there, but eventually it got to a certain point that it was just like, all right, you can no longer be there. And I was making good money.
Oh, so yeah.
I was making my $8,000 a month. Yeah. Just doing service. It wasn't bad money, but it was just a time consuming of being there so many hours.
The 4 days that he would have off, we would spend like doing chores, cleaning.
Try to go on dates.
Try to go on a date, but like our relationship was 80% FaceTime because we would never see each other. Yeah. Like. And it was strenuous. Like, we would get into our arguments, like, and it wasn't bad arguments. It was arguments like that. I miss you and I want to see you more often, but like the business or his job was just not allowing him to. Yeah. So. And,
thankfully God let me, like, he showed me the light, and he was able to, push me in the right direction and put the right people in front of us. Something that we always say is that, when she first started off and I came in, I went to the office for the first time in this very same building, actually. 3rd floor, 2nd floor, I think it was. And I walked in and I was like, yeah, this is... he
was like, what
kind of suspect.
Is this? Like, there
was 2 folding chairs and people calling. And I was like, I don't know if this is it. I think... And obviously,
but he saw the vision.
As any random person, it would have been like, "Oh, this is
weird,
kind of sketchy." Everybody kind of paints we always go over is that everybody paints this pretty picture about like, oh, how beautiful insurance is. And when I walked into his office, I was like, all right, this is not what I expected, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah. And at that point, we were all working captive for a company. The pandemic hit, we all got furloughed. And then we decided to all kind of go independent together. And it was scary because it was like 5 of us. We didn't really know what we were getting into, but it was about 6 months later or so that Lewis came in and he was like, okay, well, you guys are actually doing something because you're obviously making money, like you're growing somewhere. And let's be real, a lot of the business was remote. I did a lot of the time work from home. I would really come into the office kind of just to do like a check-in. Maybe there was a training, a meeting or something. Very similar to like the real estate kind of work. You're very remote, very independent on your own. But you do have an agency to fall back on. And luckily we ended up with those people. Nowadays they're a huge agency, good props to them because they've been able to get massive. But when we first started, we were, very few people, and to see how much we've grown, all of us have grown, has just been amazing.
Yeah, and And something that we're going to go over in this podcast is kind of just, different ways that you could actually become an insurance agent and stuff like that, because we could have gone in so many different ways.
Oh yeah.
We could have fallen into a call center. We could have, been a captive agent.
Yeah.
But luckily enough, and thank you God for putting us in the right position and with the right people at that time.
At that time.
That we were able to be brokers, and being brokers is definitely one of the best blessings, because you don't have just one option to offer people.
We work with so many options, and like insurance is not like a one size fits all. It's like you have different doctors, you have different needs, and that's what's so important about like choosing your insurance plan, and also choosing the right agent who's going to sit down and actually take the time to sit with you.
Yeah, and sorry to cut you off, but there's agents out there that only work with one particular company and will pull whatever strings, tell you whatever you want to hear in order for you to sign up with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just had a client not so long ago that they offered her that, oh yeah, you're gonna get dental, you're gonna get everything.
Yep.
Switched her health plan entirely.
Yep.
And then
her daughter wasn't able to get like her meds, her doctor.
It was like the whole 9 yards. It was a mess. And that's something also that we're gonna be doing in this podcast, is just shedding light into real life situations that go on, especially like in this industry. There's a lot of shadiness, a lot of lies, fraud.
Where it doesn't need to be, because like we're big believers, and like if you do things right, the universe and God is going to pay you back. You know?
There's so many clients out there, and we can work in so many states.
Yeah.
I mean, just in the state of Florida, there's millions of people.
Yeah.
So imagine
just in Miami,
imagine in Georgia, imagine in Illinois, you are not even touching base on those people.
Yeah.
And if you're just one agent and you just focus on one state, that you're kind of limiting yourself, because there's so much out there.
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
I think up to date, between Louis and I, we've been able to help over, or really close to 1,000 people.
I think we're a little bit over.
Probably a little bit over, just in health insurance alone. And that just goes to show something, and like he was just saying, like other states, I have clients in Oklahoma. And I've never stepped foot in Oklahoma.
I have a whole niche in Virginia.
Yeah.
I've never ever stepped foot in Virginia.
I've never been there, nor do I plan on ever going there. But that just goes to show you that when you do your job right, people are going to refer you with their eyes closed. Like, they're going to speak so highly of you because you did your job with love. And I think that is very lost in this industry. People get very greedy. They see the money and they're like, they have eyes for money only. But when you do things with a heart, with a heart posture of, I want to help people, it just flows. It kind of just flows, and the blessings multiply.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there's no reason as to why to do bad business. For the people out there that are not agents and do not know how we get paid off residual.
Yeah.
Depending on what product we sell. If we sell supplement, we get a straight commission. But if it's just health insurance, we just get paid a residual.
Yeah.
So if that client leaves the following month, we didn't end up doing anything.
Yeah, we don't even get paid.
We don't even get paid.
So
like these people doing the false advertising.
Yeah.
Lead generation and closing a client and not checking anything. Like, those people are not doing anything. They're not doing anything. They might get one commission, if that, but they're really not building anything. They're just, it's kind of like a house on stilts.
Yeah. And like, insurance has such a bad connotation, and I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this podcast. It kind of like shed light on the truth behind like what really goes on, because it's not just the insurance company, it's also the insurance producers, and it's also the medical providers. We see some really shady stuff when it comes to like doctors, dental offices especially, and just a lot of like things that really shouldn't be happening, things that aren't shed, things that people may not talk about because they might not know about it. And something that we always say, it's like, when you graduate high school, you're not given like a manual on how to do life. They don't explain to you what insurance is, what taxes are. Like, they're just like, hey, you're 18, here you go, you're on your own, bye. And like, my parents didn't know anything about insurance. They had an insurance agent, and that agent also didn't really explain to them either. Like, my parents didn't know. They much less explained to me like how to use it.
Exactly.
And insurance is one of those things that's like, you have to understand it to know how to use it.
Exactly. And
to know where to get the best savings. Because like, for example, I'm going to throw a random fun fact at you guys. I bet you didn't know that your insurance has a preferred pharmacy. If you go, for example, if your insurance prefers CVS and you go pick up your prescription at Walgreens, you might pay more and you may have no idea why, and you just pay it because you just don't know why. You're like, oh, whatever, this insurance sucks. It's not that it sucks, it's just that you went to the wrong place. And it's the same thing when it comes to like doctors, prescriptions, your specialists, hospitals, urgent care centers, all of that. It's a matter of learning how to use it and knowing where to go.
Yeah.
And I would say 80 to 90% of insurance agents out there don't educate their clients, and I think that's one of the main differences that we stand on and where we mark the huge difference.
Yeah. And I think we just go above and beyond for our clients, especially like you said. I think we have a 90%, 95% retention rate. So all of our clients have been with us for a while.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I've ever had a client complain about my service. I've maybe had a client call me back and be like, hey, this plan wasn't the right fit, but they know that they can call me back and be like, this wasn't the right fit, let's find another one.
Exactly.
Absolutely, let's do it. Like with me, that's the beauty about being a broker. We work with so many plans that you really want to do your needs analysis, what we call them, to figure out what's best for that person.
Yeah.
Figure out what's best for their doctors, for their routine, their maintenance of care, how often they go to the doctor, their budget. Like
there's so many things that goes into play.
So many things that go into picking a plan.
And that's something that we spoke about. It's just like people are just switching people, enrolling people into whatever the hell is going to get them paid, and they don't even bother looking at. And once again, they just tell you whatever you want to hear, whatever you want to listen to, and enroll you, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then days come by, and you try it out. It's a terrible plan, and then you realize you made a mistake.
Yep. Yeah. And like that's not fair to the consumers. That's not fair to the clients. That's not fair to all the innocent people that are watching this now.
And not to mention, if the person has a procedure set up for the following month, and you switch them for the first of the following month, and then all their procedures get canceled. Yep. And if you switch them from one plan to the other, their procedure are going to get completely canceled. Their referrals are now voided. So now they lose their
authorizations are now
everything. They lose everything. So then, how do you know if that person, maybe that's a life-saving surgery that they need? Yeah. So, and God forbid something like that happens. Guess who's gonna fall back on? It's gonna fall back on that one agent that did that plan. Yep.
I've gotten many calls from patients or from clients that probably got misled, saw a whatever advertisement on Facebook or Instagram or TV that might have manipulated them to switch without really giving them the fine print. And they call me back basically like in tears. Like I've had literal clients call me in tears, like, I made a mistake, I switched, like I should have called you, and I don't get mad at them. I'm just like, dang, like that sucks, because it really does happen. And I feel so bad, especially the senior citizens. They fall for it a lot quicker than most other people. But again, like Lewis said, this is not just about money. This is also about people's health at the end of the day. Yeah. And there's a lot of fraud that goes behind like these insurance agencies, setting up illegal call centers offshore,
non-licensed
people in other countries selling when they shouldn't be selling. Like we have a license to protect. Yeah. We have a license that we studied and we took a test for, and we worked for that license. So then people abuse that power and they ruin it for the people that want to do things right. Yeah. We're in the process of growing, so we're hiring new agents. We're looking for new agents that want to expand and grow in this industry. And I was doing an interview the other day. I was telling Lewis, and we were talking about client generation, how do we get our clients, and I think majority of our business, if not all of our business, I would say 90% of it has all been through referrals, word of mouth.
Prospecting, clients.
Happy clients that love our service so much and we have clients that eventually they're invited to the wedding, like clients that turn into family, and they stick with us for the long run, and that just that sells itself. People refer you with their eyes closed because they love your service and they know that you're reputable. So it's the same way that you recommend your tax accountant, you recommend your hair girl, because your real estate agent, your barber, because you trust them and you know that they're going to do a good job. So the guy was asking me, the guy that I was interviewing was asking me about how do we get our clients, and when I told him they're mostly organic, I asked him how do you get your clients, and he goes, oh, we do false advertising, how it is. And I was just like, no, I don't know how that is. That just shocked me, and it took me like so aback that that's become the norm.
Yeah.
That he's just like, he just talked about it so casually that that's the norm. Like, oh yeah, all the agencies do it.
For him.
And that just sucks because we're given such a bad rep for that.
Right.
You know, like I think he was telling me the advertisements that they do offering, food cards and offering rent assistance and cash back, free like money on subsidies and things like things that don't exist, but they're like clickbait.
Yeah.
They're clickbait. So they reel the person in, the person calls, they're making all these promises, and they roll them into something that doesn't give them anything that they were promised, And then he goes, well, yeah, my clients, how's your retention? My clients switch the next month. And I'm like, you just told me that you're false advertising. Of course they're going to switch. Like, what do you mean? You're selling them something that you're not actually giving them. Of course they're going to switch. My clients don't switch because we're telling them the truth.
I'm finding them a plan that actually works for them.
Exactly.
I'm not telling them they're going to get a Visa card from me. No, they're going to get a health insurance plan from me.
Yeah. And it's also the educating aspect. I think we fell in love with educating the clients on teaching them how to get the best savings, where to go,
how to use their plan.
Yeah, how to use it overall, just how to use it. And it's the same thing, what I was mentioning earlier about the pharmacy is the same thing when it comes to the network of the doctors, the network of the urgent cares, the network of the hospital. If you go to a hospital that's out of network because you didn't know, it's probably not going to be covered. And a lot of people, again, will blame it on the insurance company, and it's not really on blaming it on somebody. It's just getting more informed and getting better educated.
Right.
And we teach all of our agents, educate your clients, because that's where you're going to get the referrals. That's how you're going to grow a solid business. Like, we didn't get 1,000 clients under our belt by scamming. Yeah. We got 1,000 clients under our belt because of working hard and being honest and working with integrity, which I feel like in this day and age, especially in the beautiful city of Miami where we live, it's become so transactional that human touch human compassion is lost. Yeah. It's really lost. And not only that, but also doctors now see it as transactional. Medical centers. If you look in Miami, medical centers are popping up left and right because they look at the senior citizens as a little ka-ching now. They're just a number. Yep. And they know it. Yep. They know it. Mm-hmm. So it's that's just the whole reason that we wanted to do this podcast, is to spread light, spread knowledge, spread the right information. And this is for anybody that basically wants to get more information on their own insurance, that wants to learn on how insurance works, that wants to learn what goes on behind the scenes of like doctors' offices, dental clinics, hospitals, and for agents that are looking for a safe place, a place where they can actually grow, a place that does things with integrity, with love. Averity actually stands for above prosperity. Mm-hmm. So our whole entire core value is just doing things right, doing things with love, and advancing not by stepping on somebody else, but by just doing things right. Yeah. Just doing things with love.
Just do a good job once, and you don't have to worry. You don't have to look over your shoulder.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that a lot of agents here in Miami can't say the same. No, they definitely can't say the same. We started off with health insurance. We saw that a lot of clients were coming back to ask us more about car insurance and homeowners and stuff like that. So we fell face first trying to learn Medicare, trying to learn PNC, and because again, information is so gate kept. It's almost like they don't want you to grow because you're competition to them. But at the end of the day, again, there's so much business to go around. There's no reason to gatekeep. There's no reason to just hog everything. Our next episode is going to be a labor and delivery nurse from one of the biggest hospitals here in Miami. She's shedding some light on the behind the scenes, what goes on in the NICU and in the birth, how doctors react to certain situations and where the money comes into play. Yeah. So it's going to be a very insightful episode. Very fun. I learned a lot. It was pretty cool. You watched it, right?
Yeah, I watched it. Obviously.
It was really good. So stay tuned for that next episode. And one of the things that we just promised is that we're going to deliver transparency. We're going to deliver knowledge. No clickbait, for sure. And So
make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys do on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And, all those little buttons that you see at the bottom.
Exactly. And we hope to see you in the next one.
Yeah. See you there.